Regardless of your current skill level, by the end of this video, you're gonna learn how to win infinitely more games in College Football 26. Now, I'm not your average Joe saying all of this, because I've made thousands of dollars competing, beaten some of the best pros in the world, coached hundreds of players to become better, and even have guides featured on the official EA Sports website. So you know, what you're gonna see in this video is legit. And make sure to stay all the way through because the tips get better and better as we progress. In the first tip, I'm gonna show you 3 techniques to instantly improve your switch stick and get more interceptions. The first concept we're going to be breaking down is the side switch, and it's great for when you're playing flood concepts like this one where they have a corner route and a flat route. And all we're going to do here is switch to the slot corner in the flat zone. It also could be the outside corner. This will make them hesitate, and it can actually result in a lot of interceptions. So what you can do is if he's going down, you can come right back up, and then when they go to throw that corner route, you're there. The other thing you could do is go up and then come right down and go make a tackle on the table route. So that's the side switch. It's a very basic technique and it'll help you a lot in stopping flood concepts. Now, if you're playing more advanced players, they can easily read your side switch. So this is when you use the double switch. And I also should recommend, or should say, for beginner players, the switch stick is done with the right stick when your user or the player you're starting in is in a zone, and you just point it in the direction of the player you want to switch to. So the double switch, all we're gonna do here is switch to the flat zone and then switch up to the deeper zone. So this is great when you're in a cover 4 style of defense. So what ends up happening is they're gonna read downward, they're gonna see you switch, they're gonna go okay, and then they might instantly throw this running back, end up gaining 1 yard, maybe losing a yard, and they're like, okay, he's down here, I'm definitely gonna have this open. And then they're gonna go to throw this corner out, but you actually just switch to this player here, and now it's covered, right? You're on top of it. So it's a very, very basic technique. Once again, a little bit more advanced than the side switch. All you're doing is 2 switches. I'm switching once in the direction I want to switch towards, that's the right in this case, and then I'm just flicking the right stick up to get on the player on top of me. So that allows me to bag 2 routes just by utilizing this technique, knowing pretty much everything else is covered. And of course, it's great when you pair it with a blitz because you don't want them to have a ton of time in the pocket. Now, the last switch stick technique that's super, super effective is the up switch. And this is really great when you're playing players that are using post routes, especially backside post routes, because if you're in, let's say, a cover 4 defense, which is one of the best defenses that every pro likes to use because you have so many deep zones to switch to, you could see that they're gonna be able to throw this post route, right? They can pass late it down, they can aggressive catch it, and it's gonna get under your quarter. But after they hit you with that, you should be aware of it coming again. So all you need to do is be near that area and then switch to the inside quarter or the inside third and go and play that post route. So that's another very, very easy way to get switch stick picks. You can switch this to a slot corner, you can double switch, and then you could up switch to a safety to come down on post routes, in routes, and things like that. So those are the ways that I like to switch stick. They're very basic, and once you understand them and what they're good at beating or what they're good at covering, you're gonna be in that top 1% of switch stick players. For this next tip, I'm gonna show you how to use the super overpowered Playmaker feature to get huge yardage on every play. To use this overpowered feature, all you need to do is recognize that number 1, you can only use it about a second into the play. It used to be 3-4 seconds. Now you can do it really early, which is insane. And then you also have to recognize that you can only do it to a moving receiver 180 degrees, and you can only do it to a still receiver, really any degrees. So you can do it to any direction with a still receiver. So in this case, I'm gonna do the drag. He's a moving receiver and he's moving to the left. So I could either move him straight down, which I never wanna do, or I can move him directly upfield. So let's say they're coming down on me. I'm gonna hold L2 and flick the right stick directly upfield, right? And you're gonna see that's a wide open, easy pass. So once again, to do it, you're holding L2 and flicking the right stick in the direction you want the receiver to go. So that's one really, really good use case. Another cool use case is, let's say they didn't have hooks on the field, right? So they're in something that looks like this. You can actually do it with still receivers as well. So I'm gonna put a smoke screen on my outside receiver, gonna wait about a second, and now, oh, the middle's open. So I can put him over here, right? And let's say they didn't have a flat, right? So now they don't have a flat on that side of the field. I can actually playmaker him outwards too, because he's a still receiver. So now he turns into a flat. Instead of going as a smoke screen in the middle of the field, he could be a flat, he could be a drag. He really could be whatever I want him to be. So that's why Playmaker is so insane this year. You can do it really early into the play, and you have a lot of control over your receiver. Now we're gonna take a look at how you can always use the route commit feature to bag any route with only one adjustment. Now, route committing can be used in a way that makes it almost impossible for your opponent to throw any route. And you're probably like, whoa, that's crazy. And the answer is, it's crazy. And you didn't even ask a question. So route committing basically means it's a high risk, high reward guess. And you press the right bumper, and then you choose to route commit your entire defense either inside or outside. The thing is, if you route commit outside, you know that you're gonna be able to guard out breaking routes. So I'm route committing outside here. And if they go run a corner route, you're gonna see that corner route is very well covered, right? We can knock it out, we're right on top of that route. But you're like, okay, well, you route committed your entire defense outside. What happens if a player goes inside? Well, the thing is with route committing outside is you don't actually get beat too bad to the inside. Right there, you may get beat a tiny bit, but it's still relatively negligible compared to normal defense. So if I did this a few times, you're gonna see, even though I'm route committing outside, my players are just not getting burnt. Like right there, the in route was completely covered, and we route committed outside. Okay, what about a post route? You're like, okay, there's no way you route commit outside, right bumper, and then right on the left stick. You're gonna see that even with the post route committing outside doesn't really get burnt. You see, he actually just sticks on top of him, and they would be throwing a direct interception right at your DB. So what I'm really recommending here is you can safely route commit your entire defense outside and not have to worry about in-breaking routes as well as out-breaking routes. So if you're looking to just play man coverage and you don't want to make too many adjustments, just route commit outside and you're gonna bag pretty much everything. Before I show you the rest of the tips, and trust me, you don't want to miss them, I highly recommend you try victoryformation.gg if you actually want to be an elite college football 26 player. And there really is no better time, seriously, because our once a year Madden 26 sale is live, and it includes both Madden and college football 26 content all year long for just $45 compared to $180 if you paid monthly. So unlock it all using code M26. We even have 25 plus tips and 4 full game plans already live now. So if you're ready to join thousands of players taking their games to the next level with victoryformation.gg, click the link below or scan the QR code to start improving today. Now we're gonna take a look at the most overpowered D-line stunt in the game, the Texas 4-man. To run the Texas 4-man, all you need is a 4-down line formation, and then what you're gonna do is spread your defensive line, press left on the D-pad, the right bumper, and then what you're gonna do is press right or left on the D-pad, it doesn't matter, and then select Texas 4-man. This makes it so that both defensive ends sprint inside, kind of directing at the A-gap, while the defensive tackles stay to the outside. And this can be really, really effective. I also want to mention that I'm in the nickel single monk formation because this adds a player directly over the center, making it a send 5 blitz. And you can find this in the 4-2-5 playbook. So when your opponent snaps the ball, you're gonna see one of these defensive ends or both of these defensive ends are gonna come in completely clean and end up sacking the quarterback. And that's why it's the best defensive line stunt in the game. Now there's no better blitz to pair the Texas 4-man with than a direct A-gap blitz. And that's what we're covering in tip number 5. To set up a direct A-gap blitz, you need an alignment that resembles something like what you see on screen in nickel single mug. You can do this in 3-4 odd, you can do this in 3-2-5 tight. But in general, you need 3 core players in the middle, 2 players on the outside, these are the defensive ends here, and then you need 1 player fixed above the right guard about 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. And if you blitz him, he needs to be going in the A-gap between the center and the right guard. And then to set it up from here, all we're gonna do is zone out our 2 outside players. They're not really needed here. And what's gonna happen here is when I snap the ball, you're gonna see that this player is going to scream in through the A-gap, and it's gonna be a very, very fast sack. So that's all you have to do. You need an alignment that resembles something like this. You have 3 players in the middle. That's really the core. The 2 defensive ends, although we're putting them in zones, they're important for distracting the offensive line. And then all we have here is a player elevated, going and blitzing the A-gap. And what's gonna happen is he's gonna come in clean when you blitz him, right? And you're gonna get a very fast sack, and that is the direct A-gap blitz. For tip number 6, we're going to be breaking down how to best use direct snap runs, the most overpowered run style in the game. The most popular HB direct run is this one right here. This is the Iowa playbook. I'm in tight slot open, and I'm running HB direct. This one's pretty insane because this one is actually flippable. I can go to the left as well, but it's definitely best to the right. And all we're gonna do is try to get to the outside. And if you can get to the outside, and if you have a shifty like LSU does and lots of other teams do, this can be one of the best runs in the game. Snap the ball, try to get to the outside. If you get to the outside, you have another blocker, and you can get some huge gains. You can also go to the inside by flipping the play, snap the ball, and now you're going directly to the inside. Granted, of course, it's not as good. Now, another thing that you can do is you can motion a tight end and get extra leverage. So if they're not in man coverage, let's say they're in zone, someone's not gonna follow, and now you have extra leverage on the outside, and you can really, really get out there. And really, the benefit of these HB direct runs is you get control of your running back very fast, right? And you can see you can even speed burst if you press R2 at the right time. Otherwise, if you were to run the ball, so let's say you run base here, 1, 2, now your running back has it, right? Right around that handoff time is 2 seconds into the play. Now you get it 1, and now you have it, right? And now you can really move into a spot where the defense can't really get you. So that's why the HB directs are really so insane in College Football 26 this year. The other category of direct snap runs are wildcat runs. So right now I'm in wildcat wing flex, and I'm running the play RPO power HB swing in the Penn State playbook. Now this is probably the most overpowered direct run in the game because the player getting the ball is basically the player that's going to be running the ball throughout the play. And I posted this one on Twitter a while back. It got over 100,000 views. So if you're playing this online, I'm sorry. And the reason this is so good is because on Wildcat RPOs, they just don't come get your running back. So you can take your time, go find a hole, and you know that nobody in a zone or nobody in man coverage is going to try and get your running back. So basically you could snap the ball, wait a half second, and then just go find the hole that you want. And you could move that way down the field, and if you make someone miss, you're gonna end up getting a gigantic gain, right? So just find the hole that you need, take 8 yards, 9 yards, and a lot of the times, if you have someone that's really fast, you're gonna end up scoring very quickly. Now for tip number 7, I'm gonna give you the 3 easy steps to read any defense so you know exactly what you're up against. Step 1 is counting the safeties. 1 safety means it's likely cover 1 or cover 3. 2 safeties means cover 2, cover 4, or cover 2 man. This helps you split the field into 1 high or 2 high looks, which narrows it down instantly. Step number 2 is using motion or flipping. If a DB follows, it's man. If they stay, it's zone. So if it's 1 high and a DB follows, it's cover 1. If they don't, cover 3. With 2 high safeties, a DB follow means cover 2 man, no follow, likely cover 2 or 4. Finally, step 3 is to check cornerback depth. Corners at 7 to 10 yards usually means cover 4. At 5 to 6 yards, that's cover 2. Use these 3 steps pre-snap and you'll start reading defenses like a pro. Tip number 8 is slot fade bombing. And I mention it a lot because it's the fastest, most consistent way to bomb the most common defenses for one play TDs. So to set up this slot fade bomb, what we're gonna do is start by putting our slot receiver on a slot fade route by pressing the triangle button, the slot receiver icon, and then pressing L2. Now, it's also very important to mention that you want to do this where there's 3 receivers on one side of the field, and on top of that, you align those receivers on the wide side of the field. Otherwise, this simply won't work. Then what I'm going to do is streak the innermost receiver, so the tight end in this case. Doesn't really matter what you do on the backside as long as it doesn't infringe on the main route combo. Let's motion it back. So you can just put a drag on, you can block your running back. It really doesn't matter. And then what we're gonna do is put a curl route on the outside most receiver. Now, if you're in a tight or a compression set, you can put them on an out route and it's gonna have basically the same effect. But you're gonna put a curl route on and stem that curl route up 1 notch with the D-pad. So I covered custom stemming, but in general, what you can do is press triangle or Y, circle, so the receiver icon, hold L1 and then up once with the D-pad, okay? Then what we're gonna do is stem up the slot fade route 4 notches with the D-pad. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna look something like this. Now, if you're playing a cover 4 defense, what you're going to see is that the curl is going to bring down the outside third long enough for you to throw this slot fade wide open for a huge gain and oftentimes a 1-play score. Now that's gonna work very consistently, and if you can get a better pass lead, it's gonna be even better. And on top of this, I like to mention that this is the fastest way you're gonna bomb cover 4. It really doesn't get faster than this, right? So once again, put the curl route on, stem everybody the right amount of times, and wait. You only need 1, 2, 3, about 4 seconds, 3.5, 4 seconds. You're gonna be able to throw that receiver for a 1-play score, and that works versus both cover 3 and cover 4. Tip number 9 is to user lock, which allows you to jump the snap on every down, allowing you to automatically move your user without having to time the snap. The user lock tactic is something that we've used a lot in the Madden and college football competitive community, and allows us to sprint in a direction as soon as the ball is snapped without having to time it. So for example, let's say you're running this mid blitz defense and we want to sprint in the direction of a table route, but we can't necessarily time the snap. Let's say they snap it when we're not ready. We're really not gonna get there. We're gonna try our best, but we're not gonna be able to stop it for a loss. But what we want is to be able to hold the button to the left without moving there. And there are two ways. There's one way that I prefer because I think it's a bit better, and then there's another way, right? So the first way that people are using right now to lock in their user while holding the left stick in a direction. Now, if you take a look at my controller on screen, when I hold the left stick to the left, I'm gonna move to the left, right? What we want is we wanna be able to hold the left stick to the left without moving, or hold the left stick in any direction without moving, okay? And it's very simple. All we're going to do is hold the left trigger, and then you can hold the left stick to the left. So when they snap the ball, you're gonna see you're immediately gonna move out to the left, and you're gonna be able to cover really whatever you want. You're gonna be able to move in any direction that you would like to move. Let's say you wanted to get up to a streak, you can hold the left stick up, and then boom, you're gonna sprint straight up instead of moving in the direction at snap. This will also prevent any automatic movement. So for example, if I'm in man coverage on the running back and I just leave it, you're gonna see the player's automatically moving a bit to the left, but he's shuffling. This will make sure that they won't shuffle and they won't do anything like that. They're gonna immediately sprint to the left, right? And it's much, much better, and you're gonna get control of your player faster. There is a better way in my opinion, because L2, as you noticed on that play, you end up strafing for about a half second. Take a look here. You see that I'm strafing, right? I strafe right at the beginning. You see that I'm turning and then I'm strafing. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, but we can prevent that strafing by using the second tactic, by just pressing up on the D-pad, and then what you're gonna notice is I can move my left stick in any direction that I would like. And you're gonna see now, I can even hold R2. And what's gonna happen is there's gonna be no strafing, and you're gonna be able to go and sprint out, or go and blitz, or go and move to the right, to the left, really wherever you wanna go. So if you wanna lock your user in place, you're gonna press up on the D-pad, and then from there, you're gonna hold it in the direction you want to go, right? So let's say I wanna run into the defensive line or the offensive line to get my blitz in, you can go and do that. And you can see, you would even come in clean there. Very, very simple technique, but I promise it will make a big difference in your game. This next tip covers how to user rush to effectively destroy the most common pass protection in the game. To perform the user rush tactic, you need to know what your opponent's doing, because if you don't, it's gonna be completely useless. So let's say you're running mid blitz, right? You're just sending everyone at your opponent. And you know if they send 5 out, someone is going to come in clean and sack the quarterback. And what most people will do is they're going to block their running back. And usually that won't even be enough if your user is so close to the line. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna block their running back and untarget your user. This will tell the offensive line they can ignore your user, which makes it so that the blitz gets picked up very, very consistently. Granted, you do have time for a shed and things like that, but you know no one's going to come in clean if you're the offensive player. But you want someone to come in clean if you're the defensive player, and that's where you use the user rush. So if they're untargeting your user, you know one thing for sure, he's going to come in. So let's say they set up their defense or their offensive pass protection. If your user's untargeted, you can see he's untargeted. All this means is that when they snap the ball, you're going to be able to come in clean. Granted, you can bump into the line on occasion, which will end up letting someone else in really, really effectively. You're gonna see I bumped into the line, but it lets the linebacker get a one-on-one. But the majority of the time, you're gonna notice if you're the untargeted player, you're gonna see an open hole open for you, and you're gonna be able to come in clean, right? So let's block the running back and show you a couple examples of how it looks when they untarget you, okay? So they're gonna untarget you, they're gonna block the running back, they're gonna do everything they can to block this blitz, but you're gonna see there's a hole open for your user, you're gonna come in, and it's very, very effective, and it's super easy to pull off. Let's do it one more time. They are going to block the running back and untarget their user to pick up the blitz, and you're gonna come in clean. Now you could combine this with the user lock technique by pressing up on the D-pad. So as soon as the ball is snapped, you're gonna be able to hold the left stick down, and you know your user is just gonna run straight down very quickly, right? You can see right there, you're coming in clean, and someone else also got in really, really clean. So that's the user lock technique paired with the user rush tactic. that'll allow you to get some very big stops on your opponents who are using certain pass protection mechanics. Now that you have the absolute best tips at your disposal, it's time to match them with the best plays. So click the video on screen for the top 10 most unstoppable money plays in college football 26.